This is Mrs. Bishop, and we are going to create a fall leaf watercolor painting. So as you can see, online you should have found this template, print it on cardstock, and cut out all of the leaves. There are 7 leaves total. Mrs. Bishop has already started on 2 of these leaves. I did this one, and then I did the straight edge one like that. Now, but before you get started, I want to show you something. This is your paper from week 5 that was in your art kit. Now this side is going to be kind of bumpy. It's a little bit more bumpy than the other side. Now this side is more smooth. Now you want to always paint watercolor on the side that is more bumpy, because what's going to happen is this bumpy pigmented paper is going to grab the water and suck it in. So if you paint on the back side, it's okay. It just won't grab the water as good as the other side that has the more textured side to it. So once you find your textured side of your paper, lay it down flat. You're going to cut out all your leaves, and then you're just going to start laying them out wherever you think they should go. And we want to put all 7 of the leaves on the paper. So however you think they should go, I'm going to maybe turn this guy in like this, like that. So arrange all your leaves however you think you like them best. And then we take our Sharpie, and you have a Sharpie in your art kit. Mrs. Bishop is going to use the Ultra Fine again. If you bought some Ultra Fine, awesome. If you have the regular fine tip Sharpie, use that. So I already started on these 2, so I'm going to remove those 2. And then I'm going to slowly trace around each leaf. I hold my leaf down with my fingers like this, and I start on the top and I work my way around the edge slowly. You can always pause the video and you can catch up to me. When I get to the bottom of my leaf, what I do is I move my fingers like this so that I can actually get to the other side. And you try not to shift your leaf too much, because you're doing an edge on it, and you want to keep that edge flat and lined up to your other drawing. So there's my 3rd leaf. My 4th leaf I shall put right here. And again, I'm going to start on the top, use my fingers to hold down the edges, go slow around your leaf. Just go slow and make your edge nice and crisp. This one's kind of pointy and jagged. Come back up on top and do this part. Okay, and then I'm going to move my fingers like I told you to so I can get the underneath part. But I keep my fingers on that leaf the whole time, and I try not to let it move too much. There's my 4th leaf. My 5th leaf I'll do right here. I'm going to hold these down with my fingers, go slow around the edges, right here, go around. Oops, I moved my leaf. So if I move my leaf like that on accident, what I want to do, you guys, is line it back up, and I try to fit it back in the shape that I created. So even Mrs. Bishop bumps her stuff sometimes. You guys just get to see me fix it. Okay, so there we go. I have 2 more leaves. Take your time and make your leaves on your paper. So, going slow around the edges. Pause the video if you need to. Take your time and make your leaves and draw around them. Remember that if you accidentally go too far over the line, it's okay. Every leaf is different. There's no mistakes in art, just happy little accidents. And then I have my last one right here. Maybe I should have it go that way. Yeah, that's nice. So I'll hold this down and I go around the edges slowly with my Sharpie. Move your fingers around to push those edges down as you need them. Okay. Go around the last bit and connect it. All right, so I have my fall leaves all drawn and ready to paint. So let's go ahead and start painting it. But this is the cool thing about watercolors. Watercolors will like blend and have fun with each other wherever you put them, right? So let's, let me see if my paintbrush wants to. There we go. Okay, so let's get all of our paint woken up. And how we wake our paint up is I take some water and I drop it in. But today we're going to be working with warm colors. Warm colors are the colors that you can find in fall. Reds, orange, yellows, and you are going to want to use even brown, red, orange, yellows, and browns, okay? Those are going to be the colors that we use today. This orange got all the green on it. Let's see if I can get that off. Sometimes when your watercolors are drying, they like to get all crazy on ya. Pinks are also a warm color. Okay, so I'm waking up my red, I'm waking up my orange, I'm waking up my yellow, I'm waking up my brown, and I'm waking up my pink. Okay. So here is the fun thing about watercolors. What I want you to do is get 2 different types of brushes. You can pause the video if you need to, but I also have it all listed on my supplies. I have 2 different types of brushes. I have this fat brush. It's kind of flat like this. Let me put some water out of it. It's kind of flat like that. You see that? So it's kind of a bigger brush. And then I have a smaller brush that comes in the paint set that we'll use also. We're going to start with our fatter brush. And we're going to dip it into the water, just the clean water that we have. And let's start with one of our leaves. We're just going to use clean water inside of our leaves. And we go to the edge, and we're just putting water in here, you guys. Just paint water inside of your leaf all the way down to the stem. Just water. Put a lot of water. Not where it's dripping, but you want to have water in there. Now, I'm going to take my little brush, and I'm going to start with some orange that I've already woken up, and I'm going to touch this wet spot, and I'm just going to touch it and let the paint go where it wants to go. I'm going to take another drop of orange paint and put it over here. And I'm just going to let it start spreading out. And I'm going to take another drop of orange and go along here. Once I've got my oranges down, how about I get a little bit of a red? Because a red is another cool color. So I'm going to take some red, and I'm going to go around here. Okay, guys? Get some more red, and go right here. Okay? Then let's do some brown. I got my brown, and I've got it right there, and I'm just going to put it a little bit right there. Some brown, the stem too. Stay in the lines, and the water in watercolors will start spreading the colors everywhere and making them hug and spreading all of their colors. And so what we're doing is we're adding, the fall colors in here a little bit at a time. Now what you don't see Mrs. Bishop doing is mixing them too much, right? I'm just touching them down and I'm letting them like kind of mix together on their own. If you start mixing it, what's going to happen is it's going to get really muddy and yucky. So I'm going to let this one like melt together. And what I can do is I can take this and I can go up like that just one time, and it'll give it the appearance of having the veins. If you want to do a few more, you can go off to the sides from your vein. Do you see what I'm doing? So there you go. What we're going to do again is take our water and we're going to do the next one. We just put water inside of it, just water inside of this leaf. Get some water inside of there and do the same thing. This one I'm going to do probably some yellows and browns and orange. So my water is inside of here all the way to the edges. Do you see that? So then I'm going to take my small brush again, give it nice and clean. Start with some yellow. Sometimes we need to stir up our watercolors. We woke them up, but we need to stir them up. And I'm going to start with my yellow. I want the middle of my leaf to be yellow. So I'm going to do a little bit of yellow going down the middle of my leaf like this. Then I'm going to do a little bit of oranges, maybe on the edges of these. Just a little bit of orange along the edge. See that? A little bit more orange along the edge in here. A little bit more orange over here. There is no messing this up. If you keep your fall colors and you just paint on top of that water that you laid down in there, oh, it's going to be so fun to see what happens. Okay, so there's my mixture. I'm going to do a little bit of brown down here, get that all going right there. Look at that. If you want, you can have your brown stem come up again and have go different directions, and it's just going to bleed together. And so you don't want to play with watercolor too much once you get the colors laid down. They're just going to keep blending together and keep making it really pretty fall colors. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Do you guys see how we're doing this? We're just going leaf by leaf. We're adding water first, all the way to the edges with our bigger brush. Water with our bigger brush. And then we're adding the color with our smaller brush. You could add color with the bigger brush, but it's going to add a lot of color. So it's up to you. For this one, I'm going to do a mostly red one, because we'll do like a Canadian Toronto leaf, you know, like the leaves that are in Canada. So I'm going to do red mostly in the middle. You don't need to do much when you've laid down that water already. So cool how it does that. And then what I'm going to do is add just a tiny bit of brown right here, and then maybe just dot the edges with brown, because this guy, it's almost like he's going to start to turn brown, because the stages is like yellows, then orange, then reds, then browns. So just touching the edges with some brown. But you guys are the artists of your painting, so you guys do what you guys want to do on yours. Now, do you see how Mrs. Bishop kind of went out of the lines right there? I'm going to show you what you can do. I'm getting a paper towel. Let's see, do I have paper towels? I don't have any paper towels here, so I think I might, oh, I have tissues. Tissues can work. So I got a tissue, and I'm going to roll it up, and with watercolor, if you want to pull some of the watercolor off the edge, then just go ahead and put your paper towel down. And see all of this over here? I can pick up some of that color too, if I want to. If there's something where you're like, ooh, that's too much paint, just touch your painting with a little dry piece of paper towel, and it will pick some of that up. So if I want to take some of this brown away right here, if I just barely touch it, it will start taking it away. Now, if there's a spot like that that you don't like, you can just take your paintbrush and spread the paint over there. So with watercolor, you guys, you have to be a little bit patient. That's it. Just be patient with yourself. Okay? Just be patient and it will be awesome. Okay. There are 3 leaves done. Now, I want you to take your clean water again, and we're going to do another one. So we just work one at a time. Try not to do more than one at a time because the water is going to dry on you, and you need that water to spread the color, as you can see. So, spread your color, or spread your water. Okay. Okay, so I got my water down, and now let's see. I'm going to make an orange leaf over here. We'll do orange and red. So, we'll do some orange, and I just want you guys to like touch the color down, get lots of color on your paintbrush, and just touch it. And look at how cool it is. It's so cool how it does that. So cool. Oh, I have a darker orange that I just got. So now I'm going to use this darker orange. I didn't know that was orange. I thought that was pink for some reason. Okay. So I'm just going to spread my darker orange. We're working with warm colors today. Warm colors are the colors you see during fall or during a sunset. They are such inviting, happy, warm, summery colors. Oranges, pinks, browns, yellows, reds. So there's my dark orange and my light orange. Use a little bit of the brown for the stem. Let your water do the work for you. So if I touch this brown to this orange, what's going to happen is they're going to start hugging and touching each other. Okay, so we can pull it up a little bit more too if we like. Alright, so there are 4 of the fall leaves, and now I'm going to turn my paper over. The reason I'm going to do that is I don't want to put my hand in paint. That would be gross, and it would ruin my painting. So I turn my paper over and I get more clean water, and I'm going to work on this guy. And if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause it. Take your time. There is no rushing in art. Some paintings can take 2 years to get done. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Some paintings are done in 2 seconds. But watercolor is a type of painting that cannot be done in 2 seconds if you want it to look good. You can also come back and add more watercolor on top of it once it's dry. That's the key. With watercolor, if you touch it and it's wet, those colors are going to hug each other, because you'll learn in science as you grow up that water molecules are attracted to other water molecules. They like to hug each other and blend together. All right, so I have the water down there. I am going to make a mostly brown leaf down the center. Mostly brown. You know, brown is one of my favorite colors. I don't know why. People would ask, what are your favorite colors, Mrs. Bishop? Well, when I was little, they wouldn't call me Mrs. Bishop. But they would ask me, what are your favorite colors? And I would say brown, yellow, and green. My favorite of all those is green. But we're not using green today because green is a cool color. Okay, so there's my brown. And let's do some yellow just on the tips. Just on the tips there. There are so many different combinations of leaves, you know, that we can paint with just 4 or 5 colors. Isn't that amazing, you guys? We can make endless combinations. And as you use watercolor, the water will mix in different ways each time and create endless possibilities. I mean, you can do the same template and have different paintings every time. I think it's super cool. I was always afraid of watercolors when I was a kid because they're hard to use, they're hard to control, and you know, I wanted to paint all of my picture at the same time, and then they blend together, and I felt like I didn't have a very pretty picture. But as you learn to use watercolor and you just go slow through the process, you learn, wow, watercolors are actually quite magical. Okay, so we have 5 leaves done now. We have 2 more. Let's take our clean water and let's put it in this guy and do this maple leaf. Could be a sycamore leaf, but it looks like a maple leaf. Okay. So at home, if you're painting along with me on this video, I sure would love to see pictures of your art. If you could please just attach them, I would love to see it. Or you could email me at jbishop@pacificcoastlc.com. jbishop@pacificcoastlc.com. I would love to see your art. I would love to post it on Google Classroom for the other artists to see. Art is something that was meant to inspire the world with its beauty. Okay, so there's that guy. Now I have a red, a yellow, and I need probably another orangish brown. What do you guys think? Maybe another combo like this. Let's do some reds. We'll go this way. We'll do some orange right here. Let it go to the edge, like that. Do some more orange in here. I think that art time is one of my favorite times because I get to just sit and create something beautiful, be inspired by beautiful things. I don't know about you guys, but I think art is pretty amazing. Add some yellow to the edges just to get that pop of color. Go slow with your watercolors, guys. Don't rush this. Take your time. If you rush watercolors, all your colors will blend, sometimes not in the way you want them to blend. So we just want to go slow, paint on top of a wet surface. And let that blend and see what we've got. And then we'll do our last one. And I think this guy should be pretty brown with maybe a tad of some of the orange. So mostly brown is my guess. This is probably an oak leaf. Oak leaves look like this. I'm guessing this is an oak leaf. if COVID ever opens up, I would love to do some art out in nature with you guys. So if we have everything open up, I'll schedule some time in the springtime, maybe late winter, where we can all get together and do some art at a nature center. All right, this guy's gonna be mostly brown, I think. I think he'll be mostly brown with a yellow center. I think that I'm gonna do a yellow center, yellow edge, and mostly brown. Okay, so we'll let him dry for a few minutes. So at this point, you want to look at your art and you want to see if there's any areas that you need to suck up with your paper towel or your tissue. You see my tissue? I'm just going to go around. I'm going to be like, is there anywhere that is just looks a little bit like too much water over there? And then you just suck it up a little bit, but don't touch everything. You just want to touch a tiny little corner and let it suck it up a little bit, and then let it be. At this point, I want you to let your art dry completely. So Mrs. Bishop's video is going to seem like it keeps going, but it doesn't really, because I'm gonna pause mine too and let mine completely dry. And then you're gonna see what I do after it's completely dry. So push pause, let your video or let your art completely dry, and then come back once it's dry and push play again, and then we'll go to the next step of this art. Okay, so as you can see, my watercolor painting has dried, and the last step is to add the veins to your leaves with a Sharpie. And so what Mrs. Bishop did is, once the watercolor was dry, I just drew the different veins onto the leaves. And I'll do this one for you right now, this one in the corner. So you start at the bottom and you go all the way up, and then you just have your veins go into the different compartments like that, and that's it. You just use a Sharpie on top of it, and then you're going to want to sign the bottom of your art. I usually like to sign it in the corner, Mrs. Bishop, with a heart. So there is my art. There's my signature on the bottom right there. Here is my painting. If you want, you can now watercolor the background. Now that your leaves are dry, you can actually watercolor around these leaves with a different color. And it's really fun to use a color that would like stand out. So like a light blue or a light turquoise would be really pretty in the background of this warm leaves colorscape, is to add maybe a cool color in the background. But I like it just the way it is. I'm gonna frame mine just the way it is and hang it in my house for the fall season, for Thanksgiving, and for the harvest season that we're in. So I hope that you enjoyed creating these watercolor fall leaves. I'm going to tilt this and say goodbye to you. Here. I'm holding my little stand. I hope you guys have a great day. So here's my art. And I can't wait to see your art. So create your art and attach it to this post so Mrs. Bishop can see your beautiful creations. Watercolors, you want to go slow and you want to let them dry, and then you can draw on top of them this final step. All right, bye my little artists.